Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Monday, May 23rd, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. With harsher tones today, the foreign ambassadors and investors reiterated their appeal to adopt the judicial reform within the month of June. They warned of impending political and economic consequences for Albania if the reform is not adopted. The chairman of the Association of Foreign Investors had this to say: "If the judicial reform is adopted before summer, the EU negotiations will be open for Albania. We will see what will happen with Albania. Every day, the members of the Association of Foreign Investors encounter unjust court decisions, and we cannot go on like this. The correct implementation of the law is fundamental for both new and existing foreign investors." Meanwhile, Albania's U.S. Vice Ambassador David Munoz declared, "Foreign investors who wanted to invest in Albania have left. There are many requests to invest in Albania, but the problem is the justice system. American companies are blocking their investments here because of delayed court sessions. Justice is not being made. They are not investing because there is no safety. Overlapping of property titles is also a problem." The EU ambassador Romana Vlahutin highlighted the need for stable and credible institutions. The government has undertaken the reforms in the energy system and the reform against informality, but the judicial reform is crucial. The draft has been carefully reviewed by the Venice Commission and it has been adopted. The European Union and the US are with you. We know there are some groups and some people who do not want the judicial reform, and we know their reasons why. They are harming your country as they try to delay the reform. Albania has already suffered a lot, and we want you now to succeed. There's no more time to play games. The future of your country is more important than the people who are plunged into corruption. We are waiting for the parliament to adopt the reform. It must be by June," he said. Albania is using economic diplomacy to inform investors about the advantages our country offers. Present in an activity organized in cooperation with the Swiss Embassy, the Minister of Foreign Issues declared that concrete steps are being taken to attract investments from Switzerland. The government is taking concrete steps towards improving the business climate, starting with eliminating bureaucracies and working towards the digitization of construction permits. Economic transitions should end. There is no healthy economy without equality before the law. The Berlin process is very important for the country. Right now, it's not easy to invest in Albania or Europe. We are in the process of digitizing consular services. Albania's potentials are still unexploited. Vocational education is an important element for developing the country. Let's create the Common Chamber of Commerce with Switzerland. It is a good opportunity for cooperation, declared the Minister of Foreign Issues. Meanwhile, the Minister of Economy declared that Albania is becoming more attractive to foreign investors and that diplomacy is to thank. The reps of the government declared that there are unexploited potentials in Albania and good opportunities for companies that are interested in the region and in the Balkans. The President of the Republic, Bujar Nishani, was present at the UN's World Humanitarian Summit in Istanbul, where he said that Albania is ready to give its contribution in helping the refugee crisis. The head of state said that Albania is expecting negotiations to open and is committed to the fulfillment of all criteria for the process. "We have the opportunity to show our solidarity in preventing this humanitarian crisis and its political influence. The refugee crisis stems from extremism, and it is a result of violence in conflict countries, among other reasons. However, Albania is committed to contribute to the prevention of this crisis, to working towards reaching an agreement that promotes more cooperation. Albania has an important role in establishing peace and religious harmony. In this context, we will promote dialogue in the international arena. Albania's role in regional stability is paramount. We are committed to continue our contribution to resolve this crisis. Albania is ready to cooperate with its neighbors. Albania is a candidate country for the EU, and in anticipation of opening negotiations, it is committed to meeting all the criteria. We are ready to contribute in solving the refugee crisis, declared President Nishani. Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta is participating in the conference of the EU Parliament speakers in Luxembourg, where he affirmed that a well-coordinated European strategy is needed for the migrant crisis. According to the Assembly Speaker, the European citizens must have faith in the European Union and stay away from nationalist alternatives. Mr. Meta gave assurance that Albania will offer its help for the migrant crisis, saying, "The migrant crisis needs a well-coordinated European strategy. Non-coordination leaves room for trafficking networks and terrorism. We must be sure that the European citizens have trust in our common capacities to manage the crisis instead of supporting extreme political alternatives." The Assembly Speaker went on to say that Albania will continue, within its capacities, to contribute to the refugee crisis. Albania will contribute, as required by our European partners, within our modest capacity. Our past experience proves where more than 1 million refugees and war victims displaced from Kosovo poured into Albania, that unexpected migration flows can be managed, even with modest capacity, said the Assembly Speaker in Luxembourg. During the meeting of the National Council of Gender Equality today, the Minister of Social Welfare publicly announced, in response to recently discovered abuses in the orphanages, that security cameras will be established in all orphanages around the country, and that a work group will be set up to monitor their performance. The work group that will monitor the performance of the social care employees in the orphanages will be led by the Inspectorate of Labor and Services. The installation of the cameras aims to end the abuses. Today was the last deadline for citizens to claim unfair compensation for their properties which were seized during communism times, and to submit the documents with the agency for the treatment of their properties. The director of the agency declared that the offices of the agency will stay open until late today in order to receive all the citizens who are waiting in line. A high number of citizens was standing in line today to win their property rights. The director explains that there will not be an extension of the deadline, and the citizens who did not apply within the deadline can open a court case for claiming their property rights. Meanwhile, the Agency for the Treatment of Properties will review the documents the citizens have submitted within 3 months. The citizens declared that they applied in the very last minute because they did not have time to apply earlier, and some others declared that they did not know that May 23rd was the last deadline. Through the new property law, the government is working to solve some property problems within 10 years. The Democratic Party accused Prime Minister Edi Rama and the police of allowing drug planes into Albanian territory. The vice chairman of the Parliamentary Security Commission declared today that the government has not responded to the letter he sent to them asking for the territory to be monitored from the air, a day after some online media made public that some small planes have landed in Semen Beach. The Democratic Party accuses the government of allowing drug traffickers. Police, by the order of the Minister of Interior, are allowing drug traffickers. Police chiefs have received orders to support this criminal business, said the Democrat MP. He added that the Prime Minister has not yet responded to the letter sent 34 days ago. The Vice Chairman of the Security Commission has asked the Prime Minister to monitor the Albanian territory from the air. According to the Democrat MP, Albania is ranked among the first countries for drug trafficking. He believes that the situation will end only with the removal of the current government. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.